last as long as it would if you put the things that go in there very simply. Your body is that juicer. Your body is that juicer, and if you want it to last longer, you have to treat it as well as possible, and that's putting the things in there that are going to go in there as simple as possible. But it's not only the food, it's also the time you eat and what you eat and how you eat that determines how much energy you can serve or waste. What do I mean by that? I don't care what food you're eating. I don't care how good it is for you. If you're eating food right before you go to sleep, you're wasting a tremendous amount of energy. One of the worst things you can do for your health is eat right before you go to sleep. Because that's when the body should be sleeping and resting, not digestion. But people are doing that every day and they're running into a tremendous amount of problems. We continue to look at other reasons why we waste energy. Food combining. If you eat the proper foods in the right order and the right combinations, it digests much more easier. For example, you eat a watermelon with a cantaloupe, they both have the similar amount of liquids in it and they digest in a similar amount of time. Now if you eat watermelon with a banana, they're both great foods separately, but together they make the body work much harder to digest them because they have different amounts of digestive time. Another way to help the body conserve energy is take digestive enzymes with the food. It helps conserve the energy of the body like we discussed. There are many different things to do this. Another common way I found that people don't do, and remember, these are just simple ways to conserve energy with the what foods to eat, what time to eat them, how often we eat, and so on. Here's another one, is I had some dogs, and I would feed the dogs, I would put the food on the floor, and before I got up, the food was gone. And I said I'd never seen somebody eat so fast. Until I went to go eat with people. We need to slow down and realize there's a saliva in our enzyme. There's an enzyme in our saliva that helps us digest the food. When we liquefy that food in the mouth, when it gets to the body, our body has to do less work. Dr. St. Louis Estes wrote a book called Raw Food and Health in the early 1900s, and it stated, any food that's swallowed, that's not properly liquefied, will putrefy or ferment in the system. In other words, it will use a lot of energy that we don't have to use. This is why juicing our foods and blending our foods are so helpful, because it's liquefied before we take it in, so our body has to do less work to break it down. But the real problem is, we simply don't chew our foods well enough. You know, I have had many dogs, and I've seen many dogs in my life. I've yet to see a dog do something that I see people do. I've never seen a dog bark with food in its mouth. But I see people talking with food in their mouth all the time. We need to chew our foods. Even if you eat fast, chew your food. I'll wait till the end of the story, chew your food. But that's what people are doing. They're not chewing their food, and then they're getting upset stomachs. They're eating right before they go to sleep. They're not eating good food combining foods. They're not eating the foods that have the liquid in them, and then they worry why they wonder why they don't feel good. So then they watch the news so somebody could tell them what they've done wrong, making it even worse. I've seen this thing on TV the other day, I couldn't believe it. They have this thing to exercise. For your own stomach, and it makes you do exercise if you're too tired to do exercise. Now you just put a thing in the stomach and it exercises for you. I couldn't believe it. I was at somebody's house. They were actually eating while they were watching that thing on TV with the thing on their stomach. And they were wondering why they weren't losing weight. You know, if things are too simple, there's probably a reason why. And that's how crazy this world is today. We have to eat the foods that have the most nutrients, the fruits, the vegetables, the live sprouts. And we have to eat them in a way that's going to conserve our energy, not waste our energy. That is the key. That's two parts of it. And then the third part is keeping the environment of the body as clean as possible. The foods that will support a clean environment. I can just give you one hint. It wouldn't be dead animals. It wouldn't be anything other than fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds that produce the probiotics and the enzymes in the system to help maintain a good environment and a good body. Now, can somebody eat meat? Can somebody eat animal products and be healthy? Absolutely. Absolutely you can. If you follow all the other principles of health here, by not overeating, not eating late at night, you can certainly eat some cooked food. You can certainly eat some animals if you choose to. You can eat some bread if you want to. But the majority of your diet should be these foods that keep the environment of the system, the environment of the body clean. And those are the fruits, the vegetables, the nuts, and the seeds, and the sprouts. Now, we look at keeping the environment of the body clean. We look at two things. The first thing we look at is the bacteria in the body. If you have a healthy gut with good bacteria, good strands of bacteria, which is known as probiotics, your body is going to be in a state of health. And if you eat something bad or you have a parasite or something goes wrong, your body is going to be able to fight it off very simply. But if you have a toxic environment, if you have too much bad bacteria, it creates an environment for candidas and yeast infections and all these other things to grow and multiply. And candida, and it just takes over. The majority of people today suffer from these things because they're not taking care of the environment of their body. And the other thing it means is the condition of our blood. Dr. Otto Warburg, a Nobel Peace Prize winner, stated years ago, cancer can only thrive in a non-oxidative environment. Well, every disease, from candida to cancer and everything in between, can only thrive in a non-oxidative environment. What does that mean? That means if you have a blood system with less oxygen that's supposed to be in there because of your overeating and foods putrefying and fermenting, you're going to suffer from disease much quicker than if you had a well oxidated system, a system with a lot of oxygen in it. Well, how do we get that? We look at the foods we eat. What foods produce fermentation and what foods reduce them? Well, the foods that produce them are many different foods, but of all the foods that produce fermentation, sugar is the most deadly because it ferments quicker than any other substance on the planet. So when we eat a diet that has too much sugar in it, we run into problems. But it's not only the processed sugar. It's not only the sugar that's found in starches that convert to sugar in the body quite regularly quickly. It's also the sugar found in massive amounts in the hybridized fruit that's out there today. This is why I say the fruit is different today than it was 100 years ago. An apple is 50 times sweeter today than it was 100 years ago. And I know a lot of people that they go from eating McDonald's and then they switch to eating a lot of fruit, and that's a step in the right direction. But eventually they got to cut down on the fruit because it has too much sugar, and they have to start eating some healthier choices. The healthiest choices for our body are the sprouts. The green sprouts, the wheatgrass, the sunflower sprouts, the sea vegetables. You know, most people don't know how important these greens are and the sea vegetables are. I didn't know what sea vegetables are when I started eating this way. You know, I was asking everyone. I kept hearing, I interviewed all these people. Everyone told me to eat sea vegetables. I was going out to everyone, what are sea vegetables? And then one day somebody told me, they threw a whole bunch of vegetables in front of me. They said, you see? Sea vegetables are another way to say seaweed. They say, you mean that stuff you kick on the beach? That's exactly what I mean. And then people with the excuse, oh, I could never eat that, I hate that. And then they go eat sushi. Guess what that's wrapped in? We have to understand these things are the highest quality foods you can eat from the ocean are the sea vegetables, not the sea fish. The highest quality foods you can eat from the land are the wild edible green herbs and so on. And the sprouted nuts and seeds and fruits and vegetables and grains and beans. Sprouted, raw, uncooked. These are the highest quality. Is it available to us? Not only is it available to us, it's the cheapest way to eat, the simplest way to eat, and the quickest way to eat. You can get 1 pound of sprouts and make over 5 pounds of food. And has more nutrition than any other food you could buy anywhere. But people are just complaining and saying this and saying that and making excuses and so on. We have to understand this if we want to be healthy. We all have the capability and the opportunity to do this. We need to keep the condition of the blood clean. And we can make this happen. So now we have this formula for health. Now we have the equation to get the formula for health, eating the foods that are going to give us the most nutrients while using the least energy to get those nutrients, while keeping the environment of the body as clean as possible. And by the way, when you eat raw foods, it makes you talk very fast. But we're in the Northeast, so I can get away with that. So we need to make sure we do this. Now I'm going to give you 4 steps to make this happen. I'm going to give 4 steps how we can all start this in our lives immediately. Step number 1, eliminate the cause. Eliminate what caused the problem, and the problem will begin to go away. Eliminate the cause, that's step 1. It doesn't only have to be food, but it usually is food. We need to eliminate the cause, and the problem will begin to go. It could be, I don't care how good you eat, if you're going to work every day doing something you don't like to do, you're not going to be as healthy as you can be. Then some people say, oh, I can't change my job. Well, the excitement alone from looking for a new job can change your health. We need to get those things out of our lives that are stressing us out so much and are building that obstruction. So step number 1 is to eliminate the cause. And remember, I'm going to have a book out one day. If you want to be healthy, eliminate your doctor. That's going to come out. Step number 2, cleanse and rebuild from the damage you've already created. Cleanse and rebuild from the damage you've already created. Now this could be 2 steps, because when you're cleansing, your body's automatically rebuilding. But it's 1 step, because when you're cleansing, it's rebuilding automatically. It's not separate. Now there are many different ways to cleanse. There's colonics, there's enemas, there's massages, there's oils, there's herbal programs, there's many different ways to cleanse. But the greatest way is free, and everyone loves it. It's called sleep. When you're sleeping, your blood in your body is cleansing. It's the greatest cleanser out there. I don't know why so many people love it so much, but they cut it short every night and every morning. We need to cleanse and rebuild from the damage we've created. That's step number 2. The body has amazing powers to overcome everything if we just do those 2 steps alone. I actually met a fellow, I'm going to tell you some stories right now about some people I met. I met somebody in Phoenix a couple of months ago. Man had more energy than just about anyone I ever met. Man's 107 years old. Yeah. And he has great energy. Great health. I've heard even more stories about that, but this is an amazing thing. Is it really amazing? Well, the scriptures tell us we should be living to 120. We look at that. The other night I was hanging out with a person. This is how amazing the human body is. This person, in an accident, cut their finger off. They cut their thumb off at the knuckle. And they went to the doctor, and the doctor said, well, we'll just chisel it down and make it a half a thumb and so on, and then that'll be done. But this man knew better. It's like he heard something in the background saying, dum-dum-dum. But this man knew better. He said, no, I'm going to take care of it myself. And this man has experienced a tremendous amount of healing over the years to know what to do. This man has pictures, and this has only been 1 month now, where his thumb is growing back. He said, here's the original cut line, here's where it's grown to now. His thumb is growing back. It's amazing what the body can do when we simply eliminate what causes the problem and cleanse and rebuild from the damage we've created. You know, I wanted to give him a sign of encouragement, but I wasn't going to give him a thumbs up. But it's so important. He told me today, he said, well, I didn't have a ride home from the hospital. I said, what do you do, hitch a ride? but it's amazing what the body can do when we let it, when we interfere, something else happens. So step number 3, create a diet that works best for our own individual chemistry. Create a diet that works best for our own individual chemistry. Now you might be thinking, I thought you said raw foods were best for us. What do you mean create a diet that works best for us each individually? What I mean is, I could tell you to take a lot of supplements, I could tell you what foods are best for you and what you particularly need for your individual situation, but I can tell you that, but it wouldn't be true unless I did one thing. The body has a messenger, a true messenger. The true messenger of the body is the blood. And by looking at the blood on a chemistry level, you could tell exactly where a person is and where a person is going. A good friend of mine, Dr. Shandell in Hollywood, Florida, he's a chemist, he has a laboratory. He says there's so many people that think they feel great, but remember what I said about feeling. Your body can't truly react, but then when he looks at their blood, they're a wreck. And he has a longevity blood profile test that could tell somebody 10 years prior to them getting cancer, if they keep doing what they're going to do, they're going to get cancer, even though they feel great. They're heading for it. By just looking at their blood, he could tell. Now, if you're monitoring your blood and you know exactly what's going on in your body, you know what nutrition you need, and so on. Then the first place you should get those nutrients is from food. Then after that, you can get it from a whole foods in a supplement form. Then after that, you can look for other supplements. But the majority of us don't have any idea. I'm not going to tell you to take a certain nutrient because the last 10 people I saw needed it. I'm going to say, no, let me see your blood work, and then I'll tell you. So go and get a simple blood test. Now, be careful, because doctors don't know how to read this blood test. The doctor will say, everyone looks high, and you're just average. They'll say, oh, you're really low. They don't know. So you have to get that blood test and go to somebody who knows how to read them. I know a lot of people I've interviewed in this book, Dr. Shandell in Florida, Dr. Fred Bishy. You can mail your blood work to all these people, and I'll look at it. Hippocrates Health Institute, for over 50 years they've been doing this, and if anyone goes there for the 3-week program, they'll look at your blood work for the rest of your life. They'll go over the results with you. I want to talk about the Hippocrates program because there are people out there now that have been eating a raw food diet for like a year or 2 years, and they think they're some guru. You know, if somebody comes to me and they have inflammatory bowel disease, or they just want to learn how to eat better, I'll help them. But if somebody comes to me with cancer, I'm not going to help them. I'm going to send them to Hippocrates Health Institute, or somewhere who has the experience and knows, because this isn't a little tricky game here. This is a serious thing. You need to get to these places. I have brochures back there for Hippocrates Health Institute. If you want to call them up, their phone number is 561-471-8876. I don't work for them. I promote them because I know it works. Because I go there all the time, I volunteer my time there, and I teach there, and I see the people, just like that lady in the wheelchair, getting better if their body has the energy to do so. I said to the owner there, I said, I would love to get people here, how can I encourage them to do so? He said, offer them a discount. If anyone goes there and mentions my name, Paula Nisona, they will give you 5% off. And trust me, that's a good discount. Anything I can do to help you, I will visit you when you're there, if I'm in town, and I will talk to you and help you. And when you leave there, I will continue to work with you and make sure you're on the program and answer your questions. I was sick, and I know how it is to be living with a deadly disease. I might be joking tonight, but I'm not doing this here to get laughs. I'm doing this here to save your life. I want to see you get healthy. And I want to see you tell other people how to get healthy. The doctors aren't doing it. I go to hospitals all the time to visit my friends. And I always go there, and they always say to me, are you still eating that crazy diet? I'm going there to visit them. And then they're sending me to the basement to get them some McDonald's or something that's in most hospitals today. It's actually not McDonald's in the basement, it's on the first floor, but if you eat too much of that food, it'll put you in another room in the basement. That's how crazy these hospitals are today. We have an opportunity to get well again. Create a diet that works better for your own individual chemistry. These brochures are in the back, my information's in the back, and I want to give you my contact information right now, and then I'm going to tell you step number 4, and then I'm going to take questions and answers. If you want to get in touch with me, my website is paulnison.com. www.paulnison.com. And I have a web store where you can buy my books and so on at rawlife.com, rawlife.com. And I have a non-profit organization now, a non-profit ministry, which is TorahLifeMinistries.org. TORAH lifeministries.org. I say that's a new non-profit, but I've really always been non-profit because I've been doing this a long time and I never see a profit. but more than anything you can do for me is just pray that this message reaches the people it has to reach to, and everyone gets it that needs to get this message. You can call me up. I have a toll-free number, 866-RAW-PAUL. Now, if you don't remember that, I sell some special pills for your memories. 866-RAW-PAUL. Any way I can help you, I offer myself to do so. Now, my first 5 books have been self-published. My next book is published, A Formula for Health. It's not here tonight because I'm working with a publisher for the first time. But it is coming out in the next 2 weeks. And if anyone wants to order it tonight and pay for it, I can have it sent right to you, right from the publisher. And you'll have it before anyone else. So I'll be back there later. I have some of my other books here for sale. But if you want to get that book, you can do so. I'm excited I'm working with the publisher for the first time because I can keep the cost as low as possible. And it's only $12.95 for that book. So I'm really excited for that, and it covers all the information I spoke about here tonight. But I don't care if you don't buy it, at least go to a bookstore and just read it and leave it on the shelf. But read this information and get this information out. When you're done, don't let it sit on the shelf. Get it out to other people. Pass it along. And keep getting this information out. And you'll be glad you did, and so will your body. Now step number 4, which can actually be step number 1. Do not neglect the emotional and spiritual aspects of health to go along with the physical. You know, I see many people that are sick and they're only looking at diet, they're not looking at the other areas. I can tell you, emotionally and spiritually, a lot of people are way off base. And until I started to realize that, that's when I started to experience true health. So do not neglect the emotional and spiritual aspects to go along with the physical. Now, I would like to ask everyone to please stand. With a lot of enthusiasm and a big smile on your face, understanding you have the capability and the opportunity to make this happen, with a lot of enthusiasm, I want to hear everyone say, I can do it.
I can do it.
Now look at the person next to you with even more enthusiasm and say, you can do it.
You can do it.
Now look at the person on the other side of you and say, you will do it.
You will.
Now that person, look back at that person and say, don't tell me what to do. You have every opportunity and you have the capability to make this happen. And I ask you all just to continue to go out there and take action and make this happen. You live in a beautiful place, and there's beautiful support all around you, and use it, and you know, you have to be so thankful because you have potlucks here, you have the information here, you have the food here, and there's so many great things going on. You're right between two of the most amazing raw food restaurants I've ever been to. There's a new one happening right down one way, and in the other direction is another one. Get out to these places, visit them, take the action and do them, and you will be successful. Now I feel very confident to say this next thing, since we're not in New York. You may take your seats. When I say that in New York City, we end up with an empty room. So I want to thank everyone. I want to thank you very much. Please contact me, and this video will be on my website soon, where you can get it, and it'll be on YouTube and so on, so you can see it and let your friends know. But whatever you do, just don't watch it on TV. All right, so thank you, and God bless you all. Thank you. Okay, now, I'm going to take questions and answers from everyone. How's everyone doing? Good. Everyone okay?
Is everyone doing? For anybody, if you haven't paid with call, you can pay right up here at the table. If anybody hasn't paid their $10 for tonight. Okay, that's all I want to say.
Pat, I didn't hear you. Can you say that again?
If you didn't pay call his $10, please put it up here at the table.
And by the way, who signed that email list? Is it going around?
Yeah, we got it, Paul.
Great, great. Thank you all very much again, and I want to take some comments and questions and so on, and so we can start. Now, by the way, I do take credit cards.